That's alcohol abuse, Drew.
It is. Whoa.
Is that the cream? Yeah, I gotta try that. I don't have a cup though.
So Donnie gave me this cigar to try. It is the
You gonna let me drink it out of the bottle?
AJ Fernandez by H. Upman.
So we are recording. We are live, folks. We've got Nick Wright from Incriminator Audio on the show.
So we're live or recording?
We're not live. We're just recording. Let's go ahead and get this started.
It's the loudest show around. Sundown After Dark with your host Bryan Chamberlain, presented by Sundown Audio.
All right, so we are back. This is our second show of the second season. I don't remember what episode this is, but we're back rolling in the new podcast studio. Hold on, let's do a bird's eye view. Check it out, everybody. Look, and we've got monitors. You guys can't see the monitors that are watching us, but the people in the room can now see themselves. So that's awesome. We've got Nick Wright from Incriminator Audio on the show today. Now, Nick...
It's a mouthful.
Yep. Nick was here before on our old... God damn, Jake. It's still burning.
It goes off. Don't worry.
Nick was here when we did the when we did JP's show last year, but we never got to do a show for Nick. So we're gonna this show is dedicated to Incriminator Audio.
It's because you don't like me, right?
Yeah, you're talking into the microphone incorrectly. You got to remember. I told you got talking to the red light. The red light.
The red dot.
There you
talking to the red dot.
Dot on the head. I get a dot right here. Right there.
Reset button.
These are sensitive times, Brian. You're on a slippery slope there.
I don't.
You should have heard what he said in the last episode.
Oh,
he is getting canceled in 2020.
So anyway, Nick, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show today. You and Jake have been good friends for a long time.
Long time, yeah.
So what I like to do when I get companies in and then people, the owners in, and they start talking, I want to talk about the beginnings of everything. I want to hear about the beginnings.
So you want me to tell you how old I am, and that's what you're asking for?
Yeah. Why not?
Not much different than me, man.
Yeah, really. You guys are a day apart?
No, we're a year and a day.
A year and a day.
A year and a day.
You're older, right?
Yeah, I'm older.
Yeah. And we got Joey Crain and Wednesday in. I forgot to say that. And we got Thomas and Drew's back on this show, too. We're just hanging out, having a good time.
I don't feel like leaving.
And Joey brought us some beer.
I walked in here thinking I was getting away from Nick Wright, but I was wrong.
I'm going to try this, by the way, real quick.
Yeah, I've been here all day, and Thomas needs some help on how to work here, so I've been helping him.
I don't know how to build woofers.
Well, that's why I brought Wednesday, so...
Yeah, Thomas and Wednesday built a woofer a couple months ago.
We haven't said that on the show, but she built an X12 for herself. It's her own stuff.
My cat really likes that box. Just really likes it.
Hey, Jake, when you push that mic, just push this. There you go.
Has JP been on yet?
Yeah, bro.
Not today.
Not today.
JP is here. He's in the building. A lot of people are here in the building. Anyway, Nick, let's talk about you for a little bit.
All right. What are you going to talk about?
So, car audio in general, you obviously are into it. It's your thing. It's your part of you're a big part of the industry. A lot of people don't know your ins and outs. But let's talk about the beginning. And why am I getting a funny noise in the headphones? Of course, technical difficulties. It's all your fault, Nick. So let's talk about the beginnings. Probably sometime in the 90s, early 2000s. Let's talk about that.
So in the high school days, there was a guy down the road from us, Steve Cook at Audio X. He actually worked in a different stereo shop, but he was competed DB drag and that type of stuff, and so that stuff was always in our area. So I got to go into shows and competing and doing those type of things, and so I had a Ford Explorer, and I wound up getting a stroker and a couple things like that, and started competing.
Seems like everybody back then started with the stroker.
Yeah, the stroker was the thing to have. So I had a stroker and a Rockford 1100 A2, which was the one of the biggest amps you could get back then. So anyway, I started there, and then competing for a while. That led me to go to Spring Break Nationals. And when I got to Spring Break Nationals, this was back in the time when Rockford MTX, we had the Thunder Force and the MTX guys. That was the big thing back then. So those guys were everywhere. They were competing and all that. So I got to see a lot of that. And there was one particular extreme competitor that was there, and he was running the Shocker subs, and I guess by fate or randomness or whatever, I bumped into him, and he was having some issues with some of his woofers, and I actually helped him recone them to get him up and running for the show.
Did you know what you were doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somehow, some way, but yeah, I got him up and running, and you know me, I like Thomas, I just constantly have to thump and aggravate people.
I wasn't listening. What?
Yeah. So go buy some land. But anyway, I'm just constantly aggravating people, that inside joke stuff like that. So I made a joke to him, which I thought he would think was funny, which I basically said, well, this is so easy. Anybody can build these things. I don't know why you're having any problem out of them. I mean, I just built them for you, and you obviously just won, and there's no damage. So, and he had his brother with him, and he gave me this look like, dude, you're such a dick, and it was all in good fun. And he was like, well, if you think you can do it, just go do it.
Right.
And
so that was your.
That was the bet. I don't like being told I can't do something.
Right. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Yep.
20 years later, he's still winning that bet.
So if there's a guy that lives in North Carolina, his name's Paul Nelson, and this is all his fault. He'll probably be at the show tomorrow. He comes every year, so we can put this off on him.
All right,
That name
cool.
does sound familiar. I feel like I must have met him.
Yeah. He was an extreme 1-2 competitor back in the day.
Now, you said they were Shocker subs?
Yeah, I think he had Shocker Extremes or something like that, Super or something. I don't even remember.
I've had some experience with the Shocker Sig subs we're talking about from Shocker Mike, right?
Yeah.
Around what year was it when you decided to call your company a name, Incriminator Audio? When did this all start?
So 2002, I had a college class, and we had a history class, and we had a teacher that taught from the book, and she basically would come in and lecture, and nobody paid attention, and all you had to do is
just read the book.
Right. Spend 10 minutes with the book, and you could pass the test. So we would just sit in lectures all day, and we didn't care what she said, and she would just talk. And she was a biker chick and had spiky hair, and she was just up there just running her mouth, and it was just like, oh, we got a test tomorrow. We'll just spend 20 minutes and read this, and we'll pass. So we used to kill a lot of time in the class. So in that class, we came up with the idea for the name and all that type of stuff. So we basically had free time at school, so that's what we did.
Awesome, man.
And that was maybe the next year when I saw you at Nopi in Charlotte, right?
Yeah. So that was like the August 2002 range that we did. Came up with a concept, and then we started working on products, and then I think we officially launched in December of 2002, and then I guess the next year. We were in Charlotte, I believe, for the Nopi show, and that's when we came here and run into a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I saw Nick, and I have actual film pictures at home of like his booth with his products.
And you weren't even a thing, or Sundown wasn't even a thing.
No, not even close.
You were just kind of getting into it and like, oh, this is something I'm interested in.
It was several years later before I started Sundown, and and like I said, I have film pictures of his products there.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I like how he's just like beating me with how old I am,
So Sundown Audio, we started with amplifiers. Did you guys do the same thing, or how did you start?
So we started with subwoofers. We had 3 lines of subs. We had the 187s, which was like a 300 watt RMS sub, and then we had
Cop Down.
Yeah, it was a cheap style woofer. We had those, and then we had like the lethal injection, which was like a 600 watt model, and then we had the death penalty, which was like a 1200 watt model.
Didn't you have quad coils on that thing?
We did have quad coils before they became illegal and all that. So we had we did have quad ones was pretty popular in the beginning.
I remember that. I thought it was cool as shit. I was like, dang, you got quad coils, shit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people still don't do it.
Yeah.
I guess maybe due to competing.
Yeah. They're illegal now.
Yeah. And there's not much reason for them.
No, there's no.
I did not know they were illegal.
Well, see, what happened was they started coming out with being able to strap amplifiers to have enough power because they didn't have big enough power back then. So it was like, oh, we only got these 1500 watt amps. We can strap them, put them on.
You can still do extreme builds with those, right? Though.
No, I from most all organizations have everything quad outlawed just for that. Yeah,
had no idea.
Yeah, because you didn't want to have the problem with competing is the people that run the organizations always want to make it competitive by not making it cost more money.
Right.
So if you've got to have 8 amps that cost $1,000 a piece at the time per woofer, and these guys have got 6, 8, 10 woofers in a car, they back in the day it was no big deal to see a guy roll up with 36 1500 watt amps.
Right.
And and those guys were either MTX or Rockford, and they were basically comp that stuff. So if you were anybody else, you couldn't play on that level. So they started trying to dumb that down over time. And then all thing that really happened is I just pushed the power war, and then we get bigger and bigger amps. So at the end of the day, it didn't matter. So we evolved from that to the Aragi formula and Mecca to hold it down, and then now we're in the situation now where we actually have clamps. Yep. And now they're saying that's not good enough because sometimes it doesn't read correctly because of the all this other stuff. So there's always going to be.
So now they're banning with Brazilian style amps.
Yeah. So it's always going to be some person trying to get a competitive advantage. So
that's the name of the game.
That's the name of the game.
That's how you do it. I mean, can't have everybody running the same shit.
Are we in? I feel like I'm in a fucking zoo.
Yeah. There's a window there, and everybody's watching us.
Am I in like JP's seat or something?
I don't know. He's mean mugging you.
He's just peering in here at us.
Okay.
We got some legendary folks out there. We got Nathan Munson out there.
I think they can see them on the camera.
Yeah, they can. If I do this, I can really see them there.
Do the other view.
Nick, it was about that time that you're talking about when you started Incriminator. I saw Nathan Munson in a magazine.
Oh, is that right?
His little car doing like a 70-something.
So he's super old too then.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, and if you want, we were just talking to Nathan Munson. He started in '86.
At the first the first DB Drag event ever.
Yeah.
Is what he said.
So
the first one ever.
So that makes me feel better because I would have been 4.
Right?
Well, in '86,
I was -1.
Man, you guys are a bunch of pups. Jeez.
I know, right?
'86, I was -6-ish.
Drew is a fetus. He still hasn't been born yet.
Basically, that's where I'm at. Yeah, my ears are still wet. It's crazy.
So what year was Incriminator started again? The actual year?
December of 2002.
2002. So since then, what has the progression been for the company, in general terms? You do a lot of things in general.
Yeah. Well, so basically every couple years in the beginning, the business would double. In the first, 5 or 6 years, it was kind of a somewhat part-time thing because I was still in college.
Yep.
And then over time, it got to, you're in that situation when you're young, your parents want you to go to college and do well and all this type of stuff or whatever. And then they want you to not do the foolish car audio thing because you can't make a living at it.
Right.
Because that's hogwash.
Yeah, those are for high school kids.
Get a real job.
Yeah.
Get a career.
Get a real job, right, Thomas?
Yeah. So
I just wanted to talk about aliens. I ain't got nothing on this car
DMT.
audio shit.
Yeah, there was a little saying that you told Jacob when I first started working for him. I think you were in your 5th or 6th year, and you told him something. What was that, Jake?
Was that everyone in Build Speakers is crazy? Is that the one, or what was the other one?
That once you hit get over that 5 or 6 year hump, it gets easier.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Like that's exactly what you were just saying.
So
Do you promise?
Yeah. So, so I don't know about other things, but in manufacturing, especially when you're trying to do the things that we're trying to do, there tends to be a magic formula that tends to happen around the 5-year mark, and it's almost like a light switch. And then there's another magic moment about the 8-year mark. So if there's a new company coming along or whatever, you don't. In my mind, they don't become serious until they've hit that 5-year plateau because either they're going to make it or they're going to not make it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's
almost like a marriage.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty complex. But the funny part is when you hit that when
you're divorced.
That's right. It didn't work out. My business went closed.
But after you hit that 5-year mark, you kind of get established, and the 8-year mark is when the absolute insanity begins of when you become like
gotta hire more people, gotta get tech support.
You know what? That was 4 plus. It was like about 7 years in when I tooled my basket and all, and then everything got real at that point.
Yeah, and that's typically what happens. There's like this progression of things that have to happen, and give or take about 5 years, and give or take about 8 years is kind of the magic formula.
Yeah, I remember when we went from like 3 to 4 to 10 people. It just happened like that.
It was real fast.
Yeah. I think like Derek and I got hired in the same month, and then it was just like we kept hiring like two people.
Like boom, boom,
yeah,
boom.
Yeah.
Boom, like every year.
For like a while, it was just me. 2006, 2008, and then Brandon started. Then it was then my mom, and then or was it Thomas? Then my mom?
it was me and then your mom.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just remember the whole story. You were just like, we was drinking. And I was just like, I'm done with college, man. You're like, what are you gonna do? And I said, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that because you started crying, and then you're like, "I'm not going to make it in life." So then you begged Jake to give you a job.
And then Jake finished a beer and he put it down and he went, "You should come work for me." And I said, "Fuck you." And then I showed up on Tuesday, and I've been doing it ever since.
Little did you know your life came to an end that day.
My interview was at Buffalo Wild Wings. We got hammered.
That's the way to do it.
So to work at Sundown,
there's a
get drunk
pattern.
With Jake. Got
Yep.
it.
Yeah, that's a true story.
You got to be able to hang with us, man. You got to be able to hang.
So speaking of that, employee-wise, do you have like one or two employees that you've been with you since the beginning? Or
Yeah,
how'd that
so
work?
I've got a couple people that have been. Trisha's been with me since not the beginning. So she came along. She's my wife now. She came along.
Was she your wife? Not before, like before.
Well, I'm just saying she worked for me before we were married.
So you're
So
fraternizing with your work folk?
no.
Jesus Christ, Brian.
No,
That's all I'm
no.
hearing.
Is that how that works?
No. So she's been with me for 10 years or so. So she's been around. Then I got another guy that's one of my head sub builders. His name's Dustin. He's been with me since close to the beginning. And then everybody else is new. We just hired a new guy back in February.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a couple kind of come and go because of whatever reason. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say the majority of us are still there.
Do you have a Jimmy yet? Most cardio companies have a Jimmy.
Yeah.
Just a
You gotta
big
have
dude
Jimmy.
guy.
Yeah.
We have a guy that
It's just Nick himself. He's so strong.
No, we have a guy that's kind of a friend of the company that he's kind of like a Jimmy. So if we need something broke or something, we just call him and he comes over.
I was noticing like almost every cardio company has a Jimmy. I was like, we
They
have
do.
Jimmy.
A big guy with a
B2
beard.
Audio has Philip. He looks like a Jimmy, and then Phi has Dan. He's like a big Jimmy guy.
Yeah.
Well, to make that
They all look like Drew over here, basically. It's a big dude with a beard.
Yeah.
Yep.
The beard's
So-
power.
back in the competition days,
beard is
Scotty
fierce.
was always building his vans or whatever, and he had a Jimmy, and his name was Jimmy. So
Perfect.
That's perfect. Yeah.
So Jimmy Scotty would decide to change the baffle in his van, and it's like a 10-layer, 3/4-inch baffle or whatever, and he would call Jimmy, and Jimmy would come up with a sledgehammer and hit it 3 times and knock the whole baffle out. And then he'd be like, "All right, now I'm going home," and he would leave, and Scotty was like, "All right, now we got to clean all this crap up and fix it and put a new baffle in."
Jeez.
So it's not just companies that have Jimmys, but there's people that have Jimmys as well.
Right.
Everybody needs a Jimmy.
Fact.
So let's talk about what type of products you guys produce over there at Incriminator.
The bulk of it is subwoofers and amplifiers. We do sell coaxials, components, and that type of stuff, but the majority is subs and amps. That's
Gotcha.
kind of our bread
No,
and butter.
I love your products. You make some damn good stuff. I've actually had one of your amps for a while in my car. I think it was like the 20.1 or 20 IA. 20, I don't know.
Yeah, the 20.1 is
Yep.
the longest running, most popular thing
Yeah.
that we make because it was the first amplifier we ever came out with.
So, lost my train of thought. Yep, that's what happens when you record a show.
I will say, I do
stupid.
think your shit looks cooler than
Oh,
our
yeah,
shit.
I remember what I was saying.
Oh, is that right?
So here's the thing.
Wrong.
A lot of
He likes
times,
your logos and
a
shit.
lot of times
I do.
when
I like the aesthetic.
when
of everything.
customers or dealers call in and like, hey, I need this amp, or I want to get this product, but I can't order it anywhere because we're out of it or the dealer's out of it. I say, hey, check out Incriminator Audio. I always send people your way if we're out of, because we make very similar products.
Yeah.
So like, okay, here's another company making something similar that we trust. Go ahead and try, check out their.
Yeah,
their
I've told Jake a couple times. I can always tell when Sundown Audio's out of something. It's
Yep.
like we try our hardest to forecast product and not mess anything up because we want to have everything available. So it's
impossible these
rare
days.
that we run out. But yeah, with Corona and everything, it's impossible. But I can always tell. We have say we sell I-Series drivers, which are our 500 watt entry style woofer or whatever, and we'll sell X amount of them a month or whatever, and then all of a sudden I'll just notice like a huge sharp spike, and I'll be like, oh, well, I guess this means Sundown's out of E-Series over there now because so it's like we sell our normal amount and then way more than that. So it's kind of, and I think that's kind of an industry trend. If
Right.
somebody runs out of something, somebody else picks the sale up. So.
How did you come about the name?
Well, when we had those college classes that we were talking about, the class lasted an hour and a half, and it was 4 days a week. So it was 6 hours of just beating your head against the wall because, I don't care. I don't care what Napoleon's doing this week, So one of us, I think it was me, had said something or heard something that, in terms of marketing purposes, if it's something that's a common word, it's kind of forgettable. So we determined that we were going to make up a word. and somehow in the drawing process, we drew like a shield, and somehow we got from that to the police concept, which led to, let's call it something. So then we came up with, there's incrimination, but there is no incriminator. So that's why and it just kind of stuck, and then it just.
Right. You had was the shield first. Now you have something different. I remember you changed your logo. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. So in 2013, we changed to the new look. When you're 20 years old or however old you are, you draw something on a napkin or something, and you kind of make it, and you think it kind of you think it kind of looks cool or whatever. But then you get older, and you're like, I don't know, like, with technology and everything going the way it is, I just got the feeling about 2012 we needed something a little more streamlined, a little more clean. And I literally, engineering is easy. It's easy to make subs, so to speak, if you're good at it. But I hate graphics. I hate T-shirts. Right. I hate anything that involves that. So it was literally like
I made both of you a logo. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the one you did for Nick was cool. I sent it to him.
Yeah, I did it just in my spare time.
We still don't have a logo. It's going on what?
Hey, we got the Sundown with the thing on it. My buddy from high school did that.
That's our logo.
Yeah, but I'm saying we don't have like a little emblem,
like a stamp.
Yeah. Nick's been telling me that. And Tom's been telling me that.
Yeah. So the whole thing with that was, the problem that I had with it is, in most advertising and stuff like that, well, your logo is actually fine because it's, you want something that's kind of rectangular, something that's long and slim and not very tall, because that's how they print those things. And mine was like a square, so it didn't scale for print purposes. And since the Incriminator and the audio overlapped, it made printing that terrible because it's two different colors, and it just made it ridiculous to use. So we always had problems anytime we're doing anything out of the ordinary. So it was like, well, we got to get away from that. We got to fix that. It needs to be longer and slimmer so we can print it, and it needs to be scalable. And and my big thing was it needs to be something, it needs to be made where that if the name is not with it, you know what it is. So we started thinking in terms of Nike Under Armour. If you see the swoosh or you see the Under Armour logo, you know what it is. So that's when the idea came.
Yeah.
So if you notice, the shield that we have now, it's kind of like that, has that cool, like, futuristic look. And people ask sometimes, like, why is 2 parts blue and 1 part silver? And the reasoning for it is the 1 part is the A and the 1 part is the I.
Ah. Okay.
So that's why it's printed that way.
Okay, I got you. Nice.
So something different.
Hell yeah. Yeah, one of these days we'll get a logo. We'll do something.
Maybe.
Dude, we got to do something.
What's wrong with the one you have now?
No, I mean, it's nice, but I feel we need to change it up a little bit. Change something up. Hey, we got White Claw coming in, Drew. My girlfriend's coming in.
I feel like I'm in somebody's seat.
Yeah.
No, man. They're just...
Oh, say something.
I'll be back in a minute.
They're just watching us.
I ain't got shit to say. I just want to talk about, like, Joe
Wednesday.
Rogan.
So, actually, Wednesday, how are you?
Good. I'm acting like Thomas, so I have nothing to say. Well, I'm just letting Nick.
It's okay. I never have anything to say, and somehow I have to run this.
I ain't ever had anything to say, and I'm like.
See, the difference is, though, she's having to fake not having anything to say. You legitimately don't have anything to say.
I just walk in here and it's just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to talk about, and we're on, and I'm just.
Hey, there's JP.
Hey,
JP. Hurry and take Drew's seat before he comes back.
Yeah, we don't need that White Claw drinking.
So, Nick, it seems to me and to a lot of folks that your company almost caters a lot towards the competitive side of things. Is that a big thing? Or? You've got a hell of a team.
Yeah, well,
your team's all over the place.
We'll see
they all got that blue and silver.
Yeah,
it's an Incriminator team.
What do they call them? Is it Blue Gang? Is that what they call
the blue shirt boys?
There we go.
Yeah, that's their thing. But no, I mean, I started out doing competition, and that's the one metric. There's no, people that are engineers like to make cool things, and they like to have product that perform. And if you're in the car audio world, I mean, you could obviously do SQ, but that's just subjective based on
gay.
Based on if a judge thinks he likes you that day or whatever.
Right.
So I mean,
I hate that.
At the end of the day, you got 2 guys pulling the lanes or whatever, and it comes down to who has the better equipment, the better install, and the sensor doesn't care who you are. There's no cheating. There's no nothing. Either you can do it or you can't, and that's kind of what we like.
There's a lot of camaraderie too, even if you're competing against one another. Like Nick's guys and my guys, most of them are like buddies,
Yeah.
So like one of our guys subs blows, and there's guys like, oh man, I got some glue and shit over here.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, oh man, I got some parts over here. Come on, take that.
There's too much hate in the industry. I think JP
But you
might
know
know
what?
a little about that, maybe.
That hate that you see in industry is generally not so much
Too
in,
much
in,
when
the,
keeping
in,
it real
in the
goes
competitive
wrong.
lanes.
Yeah, I think once you become a competitor or whatever, the people that do that at a high level, they respect everyone
Yeah,
because they
there's
understand.
a loyalty, there's a respect.
Well,
there's-
they do it because they realize how much work and effort it takes.
Yep.
If you've got a super street vehicle and you're doing a high 60, low 70 or better, then you didn't just stumble on to that type
Right.
of number. You had to work to get it. So
You did.
when there's another guy beside you and he's right with you, he just didn't get it thrown in his lap. So, if he needs something, if he breaks a woofer and needs some glue or what have you, realistically that could be you in 10 minutes if you go around and blow your stuff up. So
Also, the legit competitors, they want to know they won fair and square.
yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of pride in it too. So if you beat a guy because he's down a woofer or something like that, then you really can't say you did much. But if you you beat a guy straight up, then there's a lot of pride in that as
I
well.
remember Cricket. He blew one of his wardens, RIP. But I reconed it for him, like, personally. And he was like, "Wow, I can't believe you did that." And I was like, "Man, it's cool. Nick's my boy."
Yeah. He was a cool guy. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he passed away some time back. But yeah, there's unfortunately that's another bad side of car audio too. There's a lot of good people that have came and went. Bad times. So.
Well, we're noticing, or I've noticed over the years, that a lot of folks that are in this industry that compete, it's almost like their drug. A lot of people changed addictions, so to speak. It's an avenue to get away from the bad. And a lot of people, like, you speak to a lot of competitors that's like, or a lot of demo guys, the same thing. It's like they put their all into it because they used to put their all into something that was a whole lot worse. So
yeah, there's definitely a lot worse habits you can have.
Oh yeah,
That's for sure.
they're both expensive. Yep, it shit gets expensive when you're competing, or if you're building a big build. Let's talk about. Well, I don't know if you want to talk about, but I know you do a lot of OEM for a lot of folks. Do you want to get into
It's
that?
all top secret.
Yeah, it's all top secret.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of work for a lot of people, and that whole situation came to be because there's a lot of I think Jake will tell you that there's because he does lots of engineering and all his stuff he's making. So I think people that get into this industry that do what we do it for the love of what they actually do and not the actual. I'm not a salesman. I don't try to sell product. I like to make cool things.
Yeah.
So if you get an opportunity to make something cool, and you've got your cool stuff made, and then somebody else comes along and says, "Hey, could you help me?" We don't have the know-how, expertise, whatever it may be, and so we do a lot of that on the side because I find it fun to get somebody come to me and say, "We'd like to have this price point. We want to do this. We want to do this. We want to do that."
And
or
you
whatever.
might be able to make a product that doesn't quite fit the Incriminator line of
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
and you can do it for somebody else. Something that was in your head, be like, "Hey, this would be cool for somebody else. I'm just going to wait for that person."
Exactly,
to
but
contact
it doesn't fit my customer base. So,
Right.
so yeah, we do a lot of that type of stuff because, like I said, I have more fun working on something than mass producing it. So,
Yeah.
them. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to a break real quick. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Are you sick and tired of playing sloppy edits with squared off sine waves? Want a moment of clarity? Then sit back and relax and experience what it's like to get rustified. When it comes to transforming new hits and old classics into the best street bangers, ain't nobody got the sweet sounds of the 808s like Russ. With frequencies ranging from spleen-busting high-end to digging all the way down low into the subsonic abyss, Russticals has what you need. Sundown After Dark has teamed up to give you an exclusive offer to save big on his iconic sound. So pull out your mobiles and browse your way over to www.djrusticals.com and pick up your preloaded DJ Rusticals Fire Stick USB today. Go ahead and save 10%. Use promo code After Dark. That's www.djrusticals.com and use promo code After Dark at checkout.
Testicles. All right, we're good. We're on and we're rolling. What's up, JP?
I'm trying to figure out this thing.
yeah, talking to the red dot.
So-
Yeah,
It's off
the
to
red
the
dot.
side.
You gotta turn on the red light.
Is it gonna break off?
Best
if I, like-
drinking game.
Hopefully
ever.
not. There you go. Is that good?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah,
All right,
perfect.
cool. So we do have JP in the room. Mr. JP, how are you? How you been?
Splendid.
Splendid.
I feel underqualified.
complaints.
To be
How
in this
is
room right now.
business over there Down for Sound?
It's all right.
It's all right. It should be fucking
It's
booming.
splendid. Yeah, it's great.
It should be booming like crazy. The whole industry's booming.
There was that one time he sold an SA-12. I remember that.
2 months ago.
So yeah, tell us like how because we're finding out since the Rona has decided to come upon us that the car audio industry just went crazy. It's like everybody got their stimulus money and they're not working and they're like, I'm just gonna put systems in my car. Is it like that for you?
It was perfect timing. Yeah.
Right.
How's box building been? Because I know right now there seems to be a shortage everywhere of boxes.
Not at Down for Sound. There's not.
For the custom enclosures, I mean, we're still like probably, I don't know, 25 back ordered on custom enclosures, and I mean, we can't keep caught
You
up
got
with those. So
them new ready to go ones, right?
yeah, we just came out with. Well, we've had the Down for Sound Profabs, as we call them, for a while, but we were out for a while as well. But we just got them back fully in stock. So
Yeah, if you guys check out on this same channel you're watching this, we did a little tour of JP's shop when we were out there in January, and we showed off the prefab or profab boxes,
Profab.
and also the ones that Keith Sanders does for you as well. So
yeah,
you probably got him busy as shit too, don't you?
yeah, that's the one. We have about 25 like on back order, so he
Good
can't.
Lord.
Yeah, he can't stay caught up with that as much as.
Yeah,
he
keeping him
tries,
busy. That's good.
for sure.
So, what you got going on there, Thomas? That mic all loose for
They
you?
call me Pre-Malone.
You ever
But so-
notice that Thomas struggles with everything in life that he does?
Well-
Like he was having problems building subs a while
Well,
ago. Now
it's-
his microphone's
It's
bothering
because
him.
he's such a bully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dang bully.
He's
Infamous.
just a bully.
such a bully.
It's karma.
I'm afraid your cup's going to break and you're going to spill the beer all over yourself in just a minute. You keep squeezing it awful tight.
It won't be the worst thing that's happened to me today.
I
even.
believe that. I believe
Yeah.
that.
My car seat is still wet. Not like my.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
Did you
Not
get
like-
happy?
No.
is,
So
is car seat a code
Hey,
word?
Ben Shapiro says that's a medical condition.
no. So
What
my
car seat?
Dr.
the
Dre
actual
saw that
seat of
earlier
my
this
car. I
morning.
do have a car seat for a child in my car. That's not that
And
one.
does he wear a football helmet when he rides with you?
My kid loves my car. My kid thinks my car is fast as shit because my old lady drives a Prius. So
Yeah.
he's just like, Daddy's car goes fast. And I'm just like,
Do
Yeah, it
you
does.
have a life insurance policy on this child? I'm worried about him. I'm genuinely
A
concerned.
Gerber,
right
a
now.
Gerber life insurance policy.
So this has turned into Mario.
what was I talking about? Okay, so yeah, yesterday it stormed, and we were all just sitting in here, and the power kept going out. We just kept talking because it happened like 5 or 6 times, and my windows were cracked, and the cars got like completely soaked
Oh
inside.
yeah.
So I had to go home.
Moist.
Like
Moist.
I had like a my pants was all moist and stuck to me. And like I went to go sit in my car this morning, and it was still a little wet.
I
so.
bet you it smells funny too.
I just like, oh yeah, it's got like a musty kind
yeah,
of.
like a foot.
And it's just like
A
that's how
dirty
my day
foot.
started. So that's how it started, and then you showed up. So like I'm saying.
Yeah, it must be annoying when someone walks around behind you half the day and says, "Thomas, you're doing that wrong. Do it this way," and you're like, "I do it wrong every day," and I'm like, "Yeah, you do."
It's aluminum, bro.
Well,
Let's not even get started on Donnie. He doesn't even have a chance.
so a few years ago, Thomas, my ex-wife left the sunroof open in our Envoy for a month because we didn't drive it
Yeah.
because it was messed up, right?
Oh,
But she
no.
left the sunroof open for a whole month.
and that's why you got a
What?
divorce.
And that's why.
This was after the
Oh, okay.
divorce,
Your ex-wife.
but I went to go pick it up,
Mm.
and I had to drive it to because I was taking that vehicle, it was and it was disgusting in there.
Hey,
the
Bryan.
mildew. What's
Remember
up?
that time you had all your windows down in your car and were out drinking?
There was like a foot of water.
You just drove it home.
My old Subaru. Yeah, I had a '96 Subaru Impreza, and I went over. We had went over to Brandon's house, and we had a good time. And I was hammered, so I decided to sleep at his house. And I guess a storm rolled through that evening, and it was 4 a.m. I woke up, and all my windows were open in my vehicle.
There's like a noise, and Thomas is looking around.
It's a
like
train.
crazy person. It's like,
I was
we
like,
gotta look
dude, is
away
that-
from the trains.
What the hell was that noise?
So probably,
cart.
what happened
Was it a cart?
is
Are you sure?
you
Pretty sure.
you passed out, and Brandon and Derek and the guys probably thought, we'll just tell him to come back, so we don't get the water hose, throw it in
Right.
the window.
Yeah. No, there was a storm.
There was like a foot of water in your car.
There was like you can see the water in the floorboards. But the cool thing was it was a 96 Subaru Impreza. There's no electronics in the car. And it ran. That car was like the best running car I've ever had. And it was the biggest piece of shit I ever
What is
had
it?
at the same
That was the
time.
black one, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
red, and I spray painted it black.
Which eventually
Yeah.
turned shades of green and brown. And
Dude, some kid bought that off of me for like $500. I just sold it to him. And
What a ripoff.
he turned it into a race car. It is a race car now.
do you spray paint like a number 3 on there in white?
I don't know what he did with the paint. Actually, I think it's still the same color.
Hey, if it's Brian's old car, it has to be number
But
2.
do you remember the shifter?
number 2.
Jake, do you remember the
Oh
shifter?
yeah, it was like loose as shit.
I had no shift bearing. It was just
What's
like
going
it was
on?
just
like
like
first
this.
gear is over here somewhere.
It just Yep. That was an awesome car, dude.
Hearing like a
You know,
lot of
I have a love for really shitty cars, so I still have that old Jeep.
Yep.
I
the
love
Jeep.
it. I love
Still
that
have
thing.
Oh
thing.
man, Amanda hated when I would like. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and it overheats, and Tom's like, "We got to pull over for a while, baby." Open the hood.
I borrowed that thing, and I wish I could have had it.
Anytime
Like I wish
anybody-
you just would have been like, you can have it. Man. I love that.
you sold
car.
was it that Jeep or a
I
different
sold
Jeep?
that one to Jimmy for a while, then he blew the engine, of course.
With
Even
an
though I
old-
had it for like a decade before then.
Yep.
Jimmy. I just told this story. Jimmy grabbed a bit for the impact and lost it before he even walked out the door of my room.
You're not getting it back, Thomas. You're not getting it back.
You were there.
Yeah, he did. It was gone.
We never found it.
Never.
I think you ate it.
Wow. Since butt crack.
I hope not.
I think I told you
Lost
that
forever.
story earlier. Yeah, just confirmation.
So you're saying, Thomas, just for the record, you have a car that's kind of like your life. It has to pull over on the side of the road and stop and think about it for a while. And start
That
up
was my
again?
Jeep.
No, that was the
Oh, okay.
Jeep.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I got you.
My car is just like mediocre and thoroughly average, and
It's a RAV4, but it's two-wheel
Like a
drive.
standard
so
white, like
it's
a standard white
RAV4.
man.
It's 2-wheel drive. It's just
RAV2.
kind of it's just there. It's like
Kind of like you, just there.
it's like a ficus.
Dude,
Ficus.
when we bought our building in Claremont, there was a ficus in there that sat in the dark for like 3 years, and it was still alive.
Wow.
Nobody
I'm
watered
still
it.
alive. I don't know.
You remember the snake, Jake?
Which one?
Snake Jake.
We had numerous snakes in there.
Yeah, we had a snake when we
Jake
first
the
first
Snake
bought the
Roberts.
building, and Brandon's dog was in the building. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And his dog went after a snake and tried to eat it. And we had to go get it and put it in the box and take it outside.
Oh yeah. There was numerous snakes. I opened.
There was beavers. There was not beavers. Groundhogs.
groundhogs.
There's beavers running today.
There was a whole family of groundhogs in that building.
Didn't Brandon shoot one of them?
Multiples.
Yeah.
Brandon
Yeah.
not only shot groundhogs, but he would like find birds' nests in
In the building, yeah.
in the center
They would
block.
would get in the building.
You gotta
and
remember
then he would just
when we-
pork spit.
when we got when we got into that building, it had not been used for like 10 years.
Yeah.
What's the statute of limitations?
So
on
like
that?
wilderness was taking over in that
PETA
building.
can't get mad at us.
Now we got this building, and this building
This one's
was
great.
was being used.
This is a
And
great place.
other than like the air conditioner was breaking.
Well, there's like 26 units on the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like unoccupied for that long.
There wasn't any snakes and beavers in the building.
No.
I mean, right? It wasn't. There wasn't.
No, there was people working in a good portion of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This building's so big we have to rent half of it out to other companies. So we don't need
Yeah.
the damn thing.
We will one of these days.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're taking it over wing by wing.
Now, most of the people that work here haven't even been to the basement.
Well, I went to the basement that one time. I remember you walk down there, and it's like, you remember that scene from Idiocracy where they go into the Costco?
Yeah.
And there's like 5 racks of shit, and it's just like this massive.
It's like a
thing.
30-foot
That's-
tall place.
That's what
down there.
reminds me of. It's like an airplane hangar.
Yeah, you ever watch Breaking Bad? And oh, yeah, no.
No,
Yeah,
no.
there's a company that does moving and storage downstairs.
Yeah. That's awesome. That place is cool.
I
if you ever
haven't
go
seen
down
the
Hey, those guys are pretty cool. AAA Moving, if you're in the area, they're pretty cool. They helped us move our company, too.
there. Yep.
So one day when you kick those guys out, when you take over the whole building, you can be cool like Scotty Johnson and have an elevator between floors, right?
Oh, he's got that in his house, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how you take the G-Wagon to the basement.
It'd be awesome to get Scotty. I still owe Scotty a show, by the way.
Yeah.
He never gets here in time to do a show.
I thought he was supposed to be here today.
Come on in, honey.
Delivery.
This is my girlfriend, Crystal. Everybody, say hi.
So
There's a fridge right there. You can put that in there. So, but we're kind of rolling this down. We don't got much else to talk about. Anybody want to say anything?
Plenty.
why don't you ask JP some shit, man?
Yeah.
JP's being quiet on his phone. You're not supposed to be on your phone when you're in here, by
JP
the
told
way.
me earlier he is mad because me and him have
Uh-oh,
been
here
here.
goes Nick.
We have been here for over 24 hours, and he has not got to eat boxcar one time the whole time we've been here.
Well, we're going
Yes.
right now.
We're not in Claremont anymore.
Pissed. Gotta have some boxcar.
You like eating with all the old folks?
Yeah, it's Nick's favorite spot.
You like eating with all the old folks?
We literally ate there like 12 times in the course of
Yeah.
a weekend. The first show I came to.
What was that, like 2 or 3 years ago?
I think it was 3.
Pho is back open, I hear.
No, it is not. It's open till the 15th on Saturday.
It opens on the 15th.
Oh yeah, it opens
Oh,
on the
man.
15th.
Well,
I love pho.
I guess we're going
Or-
Sunday.
You're
What
supposed to
the
say
pho?
pho.
We all call it pho.
The 15th is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but we're all gonna be occupied tomorrow.
I don't speak no languages.
We can go after the show though.
What did I do?
That was a reference that you would understand.
Oh, yeah. King of the Hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Languages.
Thomas is such a bully. He just looks
Such
at
a
me.
Look at me
bully.
being
Just
a
like
You can have the
Sure,
after
using-
party after
yeah.
pho.
We're gonna have
Or
to get him to quit
after
wearing the
party
Down
at
for
5
Sound
after.
shirt if he's such a bully.
They will not allow that many people in that
Notorious.
building.
Notorious.
So that's the thing. We are having trouble finding a good place to do a so-called after party because nobody wants to take that many people in.
Yeah.
Last year we went to
Iron Thunder.
Iron Thunder.
The year before that was Donnie's favorite after party.
Donnie, we never actually got to talk about
No,
that.
Donnie got
Can
we
we
lost.
talk-
never will.
It's been 2 years.
Donnie got lost
Don't
in the
care.
corn.
You know, look,
Don't care.
we're running out of things to talk about, so
Nope.
we're going to talk about your
No, we're
fun
not.
times 2
The
years
corn.
ago.
I want to hear it.
Come on, Donnie. We can do.
I don't know what you want me to talk
We
about.
can do the.
We'll
We
just
can,
summarize it.
there is a child. We can do the PG version.
There's a PG version?
Barely.
Talk about the corn.
PG 13 and
The
or
corn.
TV 14.
I ran into some corn. I was drunk.
So, turns out,
Not some corn, a cornfield.
turns
And
out,
And you were gone.
if Donnie gets too drunk, I think he could be competitive in the UFC because he fought off Brandon and Johnny for like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
Apparently,
Johnny's like
Oh,
6
on an
foot
incline.
five.
apparently I tried
too.
to like get out of the car and run into a cornfield. So they had to go get me.
So they.
And I like
Let's back up. So
fought
they
them
had
off.
to. We were at a bar. We were at a bar.
Tell
and
it
that's-
again.
And they had.
This is why I said earlier, you got to know how to hang with us.
I think Donnie was like carrying Johnny on his shoulder or something. Johnny's like 500 pounds.
Yeah. So let's back up. We were at a bar, and I left, and I remember saying to somebody, "Hey, somebody take care of
Donnie got removed.
Donnie ended
Like
up
the
getting
Ron, like the Ron White joke.
escorted out of the building.
Yeah,
Donnie, it's been 2
yeah.
years. We can talk about this, buddy. It's okay.
No.
He's like,
That was
quit
the
digging up this
worst.
old
That
stuff.
was the worst.
That was we had a good time, man.
Yeah.
We won't go into too many details, but Donnie was just a little
It took
bit
me a week to recover.
inebriated.
It took
Donnie-
me a full
Donnie
week to
had like
recover.
a-
His wife had to call his mom to just look over him
Hey, Mike.
because he wasn't they weren't sure how well he was.
He's fine.
It
He's
was
fine now.
it was rough.
He's good.
Donnie
But,
had a hangover for like 4 days.
But Donnie's not allowed back in that bar, and
permanently banned.
Didn't you like take a mannequin?
Permaban.
I did. I took a mannequin. They have a mannequin behind the bar. I took it.
I love the story how you're holding 2 drinks and you're like asking for another.
Oh
like,
yeah,
Today,
And then you go,
I had
today?
I had 2 drinks, and I asked the bartender, like, I need another blade and bow. And she just looked at both my hands. I was like, today?
He learned that bullying from Thomas.
Yeah. It's only when I get drunk, though.
I know, right?
I become a bully.
Donnie's such a gentle
so
guy.
Donnie knows his limits now.
I guess so. I think I broke their door, too. When they were getting me out, I think I broke their door
Yeah. While you were being removed.
while I was being removed.
You're not taking me out of here.
He's like, it's a company party and all the alcohol's free, therefore I should consume it all.
Exactly.
I was trying to. No, I'll tell you what happened. This is so.
Oh, here we go. Now he's going to tell
I'm
us.
not going to open. I'm just going to say how it started. I don't drink tequila. I don't like tequila. Tequila, it's too much. And somebody gave me a shot.
It was Derek.
It was Derek. Derek gave me a shot. It was like milk and tequila and
Kahlua.
Jägermeister and Kahlua. It was like the most awful thing in the world.
It ain't the worst thing you've ever drunk, though.
It is true, but I was sniffing it, and I'm like,
we gotta
"There's
tell
tequila
that
in
story
this."
next.
And Derek's like, "There's no tequila in that," and I'm like, "This smells like tequila." And he's like, "There's no tequila."
Just drink it.
So I took the shot, and I'm like, "Man, that was definitely tequila." And then Nick gave me his, and somebody else gave me theirs, and I took like 2 more, and I'm like, "There's tequila."
That's all I remember.
And then somebody said something like, "Yeah, you took that tequila like a champ," and Derek's sitting right there, and I was like, "Hey, I thought you said there's no tequila," and he's like, "I didn't say that."
There might be tequila.
From there, it just went downhill.
Did we ever tell the story?
That's where Donnie tried to fight Scotty Johnson. Like it.
Did we ever tell the story? I don't know.
Yeah, I pushed Scotty. I was like, "Hey, bro!"
Jeez,
About
I didn't
how,
know.
It's like every time I see Donnie when I come by, he's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry about."
Yeah, I apologize every single time.
Every time that's how he
Because I
starts it.
do remember I was like trying to talk to JP, like business talk, like let's sit down and have some business talk. It was one of those, like, I was at the point where I could, like, I was outer body, I could see myself, and I'm sitting there looking at myself like, what are you doing? That is dumb. What are you doing?
I was just sitting there like trying to absorb it all. Like, what is going on?
They might be like whatever in the comments or listeners. But do we ever tell the story about where Fox and Hound?
No, we have not told.
And
that
they're
story.
just like
They refused to bring more shots.
they actually refused.
No, it was a drink that it was a specific drink.
I
you
kept
asked
ordering
for.
all this ridiculous, and
Just the
progressively
most-
more ridiculous
You wanted
shots.
everything.
Just the most
You wanted all these items
heinous.
in one.
It was
shot,
like 8 or 9 liquors.
in one.
And they
cup.
sent the manager out. They're like, "Sir, we will not make that for you." And I was like, "Look, I don't care how much it costs." He's like, "That's not the point. I will not sell this to you."
That's happened twice. That
and he
happened
said-
in Indianapolis, too.
It did.
He said he was like, I've seen the tab of this table, and it's just like it's just too much. It's just like
I will not bring this to you.
we're stopping here.
And I bought
and then
Donnie like
Donnie-
I bought Donnie like 120 ounce beer in Indiana.
That was yeah. Where were we? It was in downtown.
Yeah, it was at a bar. Kyle Eberly was there, and you tried to fight him.
Jesus, he's a nice
By
guy.
the convention center
It turns into the Hulk.
bar.
I'm whipping
I
everybody.
think what it's called.
Yeah, I don't
Anyway,
remember.
Yeah, it was like a
I tried to
tower
get him a
of beer.
9% beer in it. A Dogfish Head, 120 minutes.
Oh,
They're
I
like,
love that
"Sir,
beer.
we're not doing it." I was like, "Look, I don't care how much it costs. Bring it out." And they're like, "No, we're just saying we're not selling you that."
My contact
cut off.
picture for Donnie is that tower of beer and him just with a. And he's like,
Brandon tucked me into bed.
Yeah,
that night.
yeah. See, Donnie was trying
That's
to.
not the first time.
Donnie
That's
was
not the first time.
Donnie was trying to wrestle Kyle Eberly, but Kyle Eberly was like a wrestler, and so he was just giggling, and he was like manhandling Donnie. Even Kyle's not a big guy, but he knows how to wrestle. So he was like, "Woo, woo," and Donnie was like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing?"
So
we love you. We
There-
love you, Donnie.
And then he tried to get some random Asian people to tell him where the licky tongue was.
The what?
Pokemon Go.
You've been doing Pokemon Go for that long?
since it launched.
God damn,
I'm
dude.
still playing it.
You're still
Still-
going?
Yeah, it's
There's
still
a
going, man.
Pokestop at the end of our driveway.
He was like,
apparently.
obviously the Asian people know where the Pokemon are.
Sensitive time.
So
We're not PC here. It's okay.
So this particular party we're referring to, where Donnie did all these terrible things, he'd only been working here for like at Sundown for like a week or two at that point,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think what happened was he was trying to work on some speaker motors, and I think I broke his heart when I explained to him that aluminum was
It's not
non-magnetic.
magnetic,
yeah.
Yeah. And ever since then, he
Aluminum,
just went off the wheels.
Yep.
Went off the
It's
wheels.
all your
About
fault, Nick.
that. I don't know about all that.
Nick did it. He broke you.
I'm not broken. I'm
Yep.
fine.
So we were talking about Brandon always tucking you in, and that's
Yeah.
how that's not the first time. That's happened so many times. You know what? I have a theory. It's because maybe in the heart of hearts, the little heart that Brandon has, maybe it's because he feels a little bad because he's always the one instigating you to drink more.
That's true.
Yes. Every time that's the case, it's because he.
That time in Indiana, it was you that came out like Santa Claus, all the beer in the pillowcase.
Yes. At all the beer. I took the pillowcase from
And
the,
that
from
pillow
the hotel.
and the case disappeared the next day. Bryan was just like, they'll just charge
and
me.
there were hams. There were hams beers.
Yeah.
You have to admit there's a lot of love when Brandon goes to all the trouble of putting your SpongeBob pajamas on you and putting you in bed.
It's true.
But the one night
And
is
that
the
was
night
the
that he.
dinosaur pajama night.
one
so
night-
the fact that we changed it up, it was even more tender.
The one night in Indiana, we did tell this story. Is the night that he peed in my shoes.
We did tell
Yeah,
that
we
story.
did tell that.
And
story.
on your breathing machine.
No, he didn't get it on my breathing machine. My CPAP. He got it on my shoes and like on the floor.
I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
No,
it's a good
all
time.
right. Let's not roast Donnie.
Donnie likes
I
it.
roasted Thomas before, so
Well,
I don't think we want to go Donnie this time.
By the way, publicly, I want to say this to you, Donnie. I want to thank you very much for picking up my slack while I was in quarantine.
Sure, no problem.
I know it had to have been pretty rough.
Yeah, you know.
So,
Speaking of slack, I'm gonna need one of them Miller Lights over here.
Thank you very much
Yes,
for that.
sir.
buddy.
Yeah.
I owe you.
Joey's got
something.
them cold ones over there.
A lot of people don't know that, or maybe they do.
Well, I think
I don't know, but my son's middle name is the same as Donnie's middle name, Blaine.
Yeah.
Because Donnie introduced me and my now wife, then girlfriend.
Also introduced Bryan to his wife, sort of.
Wife, then girlfriend.
Yeah.
Donnie's the 50-50 record. It's pretty good. Though. It's pretty good.
Yep. That didn't work out too well, but thank you, Donnie.
But yeah, so I told and we were having scotch that night, and I told you,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, hey man, if or whenever I have a kid,
Gatlinburg, right?
Gatlingburg.
yeah,
What, you
Or-
cutting people's
Gatlin-
heads off?
Gatlinburg.
That was Blaine's.
How do you say it?
Gatlinburg.
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 Gatlinburg. This guy's going to Gatlinburg.
Well.
and I told you, I was like, dude, if and whenever we have a kid, I'm gonna find a way to name him or her after you. I'm gonna find some way, and Jackson Blaine was just the coolest name. So
Well,
Jackson Donald didn't sound as cool as Blaine.
very honored.
Blaine works.
So
Very
that's
honored.
after you, man.
I know.
That's
I'm
all
very
you,
honored.
Bubba.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Donnie's gonna
And then I
cry.
call
I'm not gonna cry. I
when I talk about you to my son, I always call you Uncle Blaine.
Yeah.
There's Uncle Blaine, there's Uncle Jake,
Teach
there's
him-
Uncle Brian, there's
teach him
Uncle
about
Jamie,
aluminum.
everyone's uncle.
Even though I'm not even
about
related.
aluminum.
It's aluminum, bro.
It's aluminum, bro.
Very important.
There's
Yeah,
there's Uncle Amy.
Yeah, if you guys watched the episode
It's
where
just
we talked
easier.
about Nick Wright,
He's free.
he's here now. So
He's
about the
been
aluminum,
Nick,
bro.
Nick, well, you were on an episode.
Yeah, he was on the episode we did with JP.
Yeah.
And then I think we told the aluminum bro story then. Pretty sure
Pretty
we
good
did.
story.
We talked about it a couple times.
Nick, you got to tell us one of your stories.
Oh, the lightning rod thingy.
Oh, the Cool Whip. I want the Cool Whip can guy.
Yeah,
want
Nick's
the Cool
got
Whip
all
can
these
guy.
awesome stories that we always hear about. You gotta hear it.
Which one do you want to hear about?
Cool Whip can.
Cool Whip can.
Or it's a container. Cool Whip container.
Nick's gonna be the best grandpa ever. He'll just sit around and tell stories like all the time.
Well, he's already
Sit
old
down,
enough.
you
He's
little
already-
whippersnapper.
He's already old enough to be a grandpa, from what I understand.
Got it.
Nick,
Let me tell you something.
Just say whip.
Back in my day,
Just say it.
So
Say
you
whippersnapper.
want to hear the Cool Whip story?
Yeah.
So there for about 15 plus years, I did professional wrestling, and I was a pro wrestling referee, and I did the whole thing where I got hit in the head with chairs.
I'm gonna pause you for a second.
Yeah.
I tell my son's a huge WWE fan.
Yeah.
I tell him that I know somebody that works for WWE. By the way. Just so he thinks I'm cooler, you know.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
Well, anyway, so I did the whole thing there for a while, and there was one particular guy in the locker room, and he had some of the worst gas the world has ever. I'm talking like it just one drop in a room the size of the Sundown warehouse would just run everybody out of the place. And I remembered he would like strategically plan to like do it. Like he would like do all this dirty stuff, or he would like wait and like get a guy in a headlock in the ring where he couldn't go anywhere, and then drop it on him in the middle of the ring or something, and just do all this crazy stuff. Well, all the guys got smart to what he was doing, so they got to where they didn't want to deal with him. So he would come to the show, and he would have like, most people that wrestle, they come in with a rolling bag, and they have all their gear and stuff in it. Well, he came in with the original bag, and he had a little bag, and the little bag had used Cool Whip bowls with tops on them. And what he would like to do is he would get ready or whatever and get ready to go do his thing. He would like, if one came, he would like run
One
into
came.
Yeah, he would run it. He would run in the bathroom.
bucket that thing up.
He would run into the bathroom and like quickly like capture it and put a top on it, because he realized it would just stay in there and just be stagnant. And what he'd like to do is he would like put 3 or 4 of these together over the course of a couple of hours, and then he would like to run up behind people when they're doing interviews and stuff or whatever, and pull the top off and stick it over your face or your eyes and your nose.
You actually like BG.
And I actually
seen.
I actually seen like 5 or 6 people he did that to just threw up everywhere. So That's what he did. So if anybody out there has terrible gas, you can use a really cool. If you're quick,
you can bottle it up.
Yeah. So they started calling him the Ghostbuster because he was trapping the ghost. You know. So the locker room talk was always like, oh shit, the Ghostbuster guy's here. He's got a couple of gremlins. I done something, man. He's got a case, man. He's got a case. Don't be caught.
Who was the wrestler? Like who? What was his wrestler?
No, he was a local independent guy. His name was Bryan So Fine. Was his name?
One of my lead men at work would take a water bottle and do that, and then go up to people and be like, "Hey," and just blow it in their face. Yeah, that's.
God, you have to stick it up your ass to make that happen.
He was a unique individual. I'm just leaving it at that.
That kind of segues into something I remembered. I always wanted to tell on the show, but I always forget. This is pretty nasty.
He forewarns his
Does
girlfriend.
Anybody here have to wear a CPAP when they sleep?
A what?
A CPAP machine. Well, I do. I'm a fat ass. I have to wear a CPAP. I can't breathe well. So sometimes, I fart. And I got pretty bad ones too.
Oh fuck! I remember this.
And there was one night where
she's like, "Lord help me."
There was one night where like I was in the sheets, or not? I was in my bed. I was in my bed, and I wanted to fart, but I didn't want to get it caught up in the sheets, so I cuffed it. I threw it. Just kind of threw it out of the way. So I farted.
You'd have had a Cool Whip bowl, man. It'd have been so much better.
Right. I should have. Well, in the direction I threw it was my CPAP, and it sucked up the smell and threw it right back in my face. And I almost threw up.
Almost.
That's disturbing.
Almost.
Now imagine if that was like 20 times worse than this other guy I'm talking about.
Mine are pretty rough though, but yeah. But everybody loves their own brand.
I don't think so, man.
Yeah, everybody loves their own brand. Like I know my own farts.
He's like, you're on your own on that one, bro.
So when you're saying you fart, you can't stand your own farts? Do you not?
No, I'm talking about the guy that I'm referring
I'm
to.
talking about your own farts. You enjoy your own farts. Everybody not enjoys, but they can at least handle their own farts.
Yeah, you can handle it, but I'm not.
I find it weird that you're a connoisseur of your own farts. That's a little.
I've always been. For me, it's always been butts and farts and.
I've actually made somebody throw up repeatedly.
Bryan, remember yesterday you let out that huge one and I didn't hear it?
Yeah.
Bryan let out this crazy fart. Everybody, I was like, "Oh my god!" I'm sitting there doing invoices, and Bryan goes, "What'd you think?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You didn't hear it? No, you had to have heard it."
It was still
you were so disappointed. I'm like, I wasn't paying attention.
It's kind of like the courtesy sniff thing. You have to at least hear it,
Courtesy sniff.
Courtesy here.
For some reason.
So that's why my invoices have been messed up. I can give you a pass now.
For some reason, I'm imagining this happening.
Sorry, I overcharged you so much. Now I see why
Bryan farted.
He can't work.
Bryan farted.
Yeah, the way you guys describe this is like one of you did it, and the other one's supposed to throw up like a cue card with like 7, like you're rating it or something. Like it was the Olympics.
That's a good
like
idea.
Drop the highest, lowest score, take the average, see who wins.
I am so confused right now.
Yeah.
Well,
You're like Thomas. Thomas is always confused.
We're just saying boys are gross. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. We enjoy farts. Well, I do. I always enjoy
Bryan
farts.
I've heard
enjoys
Bryan
farts.
rip some, and he would rip one, and I'm like, dude, did a tree just fall outside?
Yeah. They're either really loud and don't smell, or you can't hear them and they smell like
silent but violent.
Probably about 50% of the time, I'm like, Bryan, you need to go change your clothes.
Was
man.
it okay? So Jake and it was yesterday. It was me, Jake, and Bryan in my room, and Bryan was talking, and in the middle of talking, he was like, he just leaned against my door. And my door creaked really loud for like 3 seconds, and I didn't even look up, and I just thought it was Bryan farting while he was talking. And I looked up, and I was like, did Bryan just rip one? And it was like, no, it's the door. But it was just it was absolutely nothing to me.
Because you're so used to it.
I was just like, is no one going to react to that?
Well, I used to, when I was a kid, my brother was maybe 5 or 6. I used to fart in his face, and he would throw up. Yep.
That's disturbing.
I was that kid.
That's when
I was that brother, that big
That's
brother.
when you feel good in yourself.
Yeah. But see, my mom would make me clean up the mess.
What was that dude's name again? Paul what?
That's not
Bryan
good.
so fine.
Bryan So Fine.
Bryan's
No. The guy that
You know that he made up his own name.
The dude started the whole thing, the whole story. What was it?
What are you talking about, Tom?
The fucking question he had in the beginning.
Cool Whip Bowl. I don't know.
No.
What
So it's
question?
like
I know there'd be a pop
starting
quiz.
Incriminator Audio. Did you ever think you'd end up right here, right now?
No, I was just thinking to myself, there's a reason this show's called After Dark, and it's not even
Yeah.
dark outside yet.
Yeah.
Well, it airs at nighttime, so.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, no, it
Normally.
doesn't. No, I usually air it at like Thursdays or Fridays at 11 in the morning.
He's
So-
like,
We're
whenever I
supposed
can
to
get
pretend
it
that
out
it's
there.
dark outside. It's dark right now.
I need to dim these lights. I need to take some of the lights out.
So you got to let Nick tell his lightning rod story now.
Yes, this is the story that I've always laughed at. Do you remember your lightning rod story? But see, here's the funny thing. But here's the funny thing. It's funnier almost when Jake says it because he over exaggerates your accent.
Yeah.
Well, then let him tell it, and I'll fill in the highlight.
Well, I'll just give you the summary. You'll remember. It's like I was having trouble in my troutman shop with
Yeah.
lightning hitting the building, and you were like, "You need to put some more ground rods in there, bro." That's what I did. I got like
Yes, aluminum.
48. I got like 48 of them
But
some
you-
bitches.
But something about like
Them motherfuckers is about 18 feet in the ground.
well, wasn't he like you were like competing with your neighbor or
Yeah.
some shit?
So basically, like everything else in life, lightning tries to find the path of least resistance. And
You saying you're weak, bro?
no, not at all. So most people put in like a traditional like 3/8 or ½ inch, 10-foot long ground rod, and that's what they use to terminate the power at their house. And if you do that, and the ground at your house is worse than someone else or what have you, then you're going to be the low guy on the totem pole. So I just built a brand new house, so I drove in 4 10-foot rods and tied them all together. So every time something comes to our house now, you'll hear the neighbor come over and he'll be like, "Son of a bitch, my TV blew up again." And he's like, "What about over at your house?" I'm like, "No, man, we're good.
We're well grounded in my
We're
house.
well grounded over here. We don't have any problems." But yeah, so basically, if you they're super cheap and you can just stick them in the ground, it doesn't cost you any problems. But yeah, lightning has hit in the area we live. Lightning probably strikes our area like 6 times a year, like every other month, and it's just something getting blown up all the time.
Bama.
And it's every house around me is like raising
Yeah.
Cain about something. So Jake was telling me this story. I'm like, "Dude, just put some ground rods in." And when you tell them that story, they're like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Like, what the?"
I put a bunch of them because Nick told me an exaggerated version. When the first time, he's like, "Yeah, some bitch went and put another one in, so I put 48 more of them suckers in." Put them 90 feet in the ground.
It's a well-grounded house.
You tell Nick Lemons.
Yeah, let's not even start about Nick Lemons. He's not even here. I called him earlier today, and he told me he hated me. He wasn't coming. So,
We need to get his ass in here. Do another show at Nick's.
like, he is the
That's
guy.
exact-
He is the guy that he will cry because you don't come see him. And then you're like, "Hey, I'm here," and he tells me on the phone today that he didn't know I was coming. I'm like, "Dude,
That's
I've been
bullshit.
coming
It's every year.
I come to the Sundown show every year. It's like on my list of CES, World Finals, all the stuff I hit. And like, there's basically one show a month I go to, and August is it. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know. Nobody told me."
He should know better. He knows better.
Which if he came to work Thursday or Friday,
Yeah.
he would have
That's
known.
what it is.
The first
He
time
was here
that
yesterday.
he met Nick Lemons, and he was like, "Man, Nick Lemons tried to charge me $5 for his business card." He's like, "Here it is. That'll be $5."
That's what he does. He was like, "Man, I got these new, really sweet. I don't think they're metal or plastic or something." He gave me one.
Aluminum, bro.
Yeah, right? Can't be magnetic. He was like, "All right, guy, $5." I'm like, "Guy, like what the hell?"
Damn.
This is a true story.
Yes, he legitimately pulled out a card and was like, this is what happened. He pulled out a card, he showed it to me, and I thought he was giving it to me, so I was like, "Well, that's cool." And I went to put it in my wallet with my other business cards that I had. He's like, "No, man, I gotta have that one back."
He want to give you the paper one.
yeah. He's like, "Those are for special people." I'm like,
I only bought the one, Nick.
Right? That's the one he keeps in his wallet. Actually, I remember, Jake, you had some really nice business
I
cards
had some
one
fancy
time.
ones, yeah.
All thick and shit.
I still have some, but I don't give them out because I got my cell phone number on them.
Yeah, well, we don't
Nope.
need that
You
anymore.
also have the wrong address.
I have.
They got your mom's address on them, probably.
Yeah.
Now they're just trash.
I have one of the OG Sundown business cards.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what they're made out of.
We had-
Paper.
We had
It's
pens one
Really
time.
thick black. It's got your cell phone number on it.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
Says like Jacob
I
A.
have
Fuller.
Thomas is like, "If you want to buy that card, it's $100. PayPal is
Yeah.
thomasthetrain@gmail.com."
So, Nick, are you doing a big setup at our show, or are you just kind of here to
Nah, bro.
spectate?
"No, I just come and hang out. I flew in, so I didn't bring anything with me."
Gotcha. I remember that one year you trucked some shit in here one time.
Well, I had one of the guys that works for me build like a shipping container, so we could just ship everything in, and he he figured out how to make it where the booth and everything would fit perfectly in one like 4 foot by 4 foot by 8 foot box, and we were just shipping the box around. And I shipped it to Scotty's show, and Scotty had to fit because it was 2 inches too tall to fit through his door. So and then everywhere we hit, like for some reason I don't know how, but it's like 2 inches too tall everywhere it goes. So so we don't
Make
even
it shorter, bro.
I know we got to like cut it down or something.
Like 90 inches is the tallest to fit in a truck.
Yeah, I think it's like 91 inches or something.
Whew.
So they just barely get it in.
I said inches, motherfuckers.
Inches.
That is the first time I had ever heard about you.
Yeah, I think me
that
too.
story.
I think me too.
I sent some drawings over them Chinese bastards that came back. Some bitches about this big, and I said inches, motherfuckers.
And I said I want to meet this guy.
And now
They
you're
thought it was
sitting
millimeters.
beside each other.
Now we're sitting here
having a grand old time.
He's been roasting me all day,
holding hands, and
he just doesn't do things correctly around here.
We just wing it, and somehow it's happening. Yeah, this whole place, this whole building, we're just doing it, man. It's happening.
So
I had to kick Nick out of my office when he got here.
Well,
He's like, "You're basically like a secretary, right?" So you sort of
he's buzzing people in and out of the door and everything else. I'm
like, so you sort of got demoted, right? Not like "Hey, Donnie, how's it going?" Or, you want to hear a funny story about Bryan so fine farting on people or something like that. It's just like, you basically got demoted, bro.
He came and found me and says, "Man, your receptionist is a little cranky up there."
But the what you're talking about a while ago when we first started the company, I was trying to make a couple of 15-inch cones, and we drew the drawings for them or whatever, and I basically didn't. I put the dimensions on there, but they were in inches and not in metric. So I learned the hard way that the people overseas, they all use metric.
Gotta use
so
metric,
it's all in millimeters. But anyway, so I sent it all over, and the drawings were correct. They just didn't convert them right. So I remember we ordered like 1,000 cones or something like that because the sample came in right.
Good.
So we got the sample in right, and it was perfect. It fit perfectly, and then I ordered 1,000 of them. And I remember being at work and getting like a box that was like a 20 by 20 by 20 box, and it had 1,000 cones in it. And I get them out, and they were like, I was like, how the hell did they even make these things? They're like the size of a quarter.
Did they have a surround on them too?
They had a surround and everything on them.
Woofers for
yeah. So they had to tool that, dude.
Yeah. Well, what they did was, what they didn't tell me. No, they actually paid for the tooling cost to make everything, but they thought that because I didn't put it in metric that they messed up the original tooling, so they just put my real tooling to the side, and they're like, oh, it's so small, it's not going to cost like, a little.
We're making a 1-inch subwoofer.
Yeah, it's going to cost so little money that we'll just eat it and not tell him. And then I get these little parts in, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
That's your new sub, Nick. The Incriminator misdemeanor.
So yeah.
Hey.
Damn.
There we go.
That's why you're seeing all these people with these RC cars with the little subs in there now.
Yeah.
He's slinging them.
That was all you, man.
That was me, man.
How can I get rid of these things?
My idea.
Hey, Ethan's got a little amp. You guys weren't here for that show, but he's got this little one watt keychain amplifier.
He sent me one.
Yep.
It's funny. I thought the sub that he sent, I thought it was a button to turn it on off. I'm like, this thing sucks, man. It won't do anything. So I messaged him. He's like,
break it?
Yeah, no, I didn't break it, but he's like, that's the subwoofer. I'm like, oh, okay.
Damn.
I knew that.
Anyways, anybody have anything else to say today, or we can go ahead and close this up?
I got a whole cigar to smoke.
Well, it doesn't mean we have to leave
Take
the
it to the
room. I was
house.
just going to end the show. We're at about an hour now. So
Already? No, time flies when you have fun.
That's right.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for watching. This again, we're back in the new studio. We're getting things rolling. This is the second show of the season, whatever you want
As
to call
always,
that.
I have no idea why I'm here.
And Thomas has no idea. There's not a train anymore, so there's not even any reason for Thomas to even be around. So, anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below. Check out Incriminator Audio. Was it IncriminatorAudio.com?
That's
all
correct.
right. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.
It's the loudest show around. Sundown After Dark with your host Brian Chamberlain. Presented by Sundown Audio.